it's Mike. I haven't made a video in a while, but I wanted to make another one to give you guys something to look at. I've made a bunch of videos recently on carving and carving on bone and wood, how to make whistles out of bone and wood and night lights. However, I have been in construction for over 25 years, and I've been a general contractor for 16. So what I wanted to do is give you a couple of these little simple how-to videos on how to do things around your house. Some of the videos I've seen by stores, let's say some suppliers, and some of the how-to videos have been informative but don't really ever show exactly the problems you can run into or some of the issues. Everything's pretty much cookie cutter, cut and dry stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and change out a faucet. It's a leaky faucet, and I'll show you how to do it, what to use, and how to do it as easy and clean as possible. Okay, so stand by. Okay, to do this job, to replace the faucet, you're going to need gloves. You use a crescent wrench, basin wrench, screwdriver, straight slot, screwdriver Phillips. Use a knife, utility knife, a extra blade for scraping the top of the sink, plumber's putty, pipe thread, and a channel lock. And then you'll also need your faucet. And then make sure that you check your manufacturer specs on what other tools you may need for the faucet that you're using. Hey guys, now you've seen that the faucet's leaking and it won't stop. It actually is dripping a lot, which is a large waste of water. But for this installation, this faucet is only about 3 years old. The supply lines have been changed recently. They're stainless steel, they're braided wire, and the waste is going to be reused. It has nuts on it that you can take off and reuse it on the overflow. And I will be changing out the pop-up assembly on this, being that the pop-up is broken. So I'll go ahead and show you the tools that you'll need for this installation, but keep in mind that this installation isn't a complete installation where a lot of the tools that you may need for other faucets would be used. Okay, looking under the sink after you've cleaned it out, obviously you see your angle stops here and here, your hot and your cold, your supply lines, and again these are fairly new, they're braided wire. I'm not going to change those out. And then you see your waste, and this one happens to have a nut on here to take it off, one back here, and one far in the back that you can't see at the wall near the scutcheon. And then you have this nut here. This is actually the pop-up, and this is how we're going to take it off in a little bit. But the first thing you'll want to do is go ahead and turn the water off by the angle stops. And you're going to turn clockwise on both. Make sure that they're really tight, and you may end up having to use a wrench if you can't do them by hand. Sometimes they're all seized up. These ones actually are fairly clean. Okay, after you've turned off the angle stops, you'll want to open up the faucets and make sure all the water is gone so that it won't pour out. You'll still get a little bit coming out the bottom once you open up the angles, or excuse me, take the supply lines off. You'll get some that drain out, and you'll want to have a towel handy, or you'll want to also have that bowl that you can use for each supply line to drain into. Okay, so now we're back under the sink, and we're going to go ahead and take off the waste. And again, this one has these nuts on it that are able to be removed fairly simple. Sometimes, again, they're sealed on by gunk and funk and whatever else you want to call it. But I think this one hopefully won't give me too hard of a time. And again, I grabbed a bowl. And this one's just a basic bowl. If you're at a homeowner's house, do not use their bowls. Use something of your own, small container or a bucket. And if you're at your house, I also recommend don't using a bowl. if you're married, because your wife is going to be very, very upset with you. So anyhow, I'll go ahead and remove the waste by taking off the nuts and drop it. And you'll see how much water ends up pouring out. That's why you want to have a bowl. Alright, again, those didn't seem to, yep, see, it's starting to drip now. That's why you want to have a bowl. And you want to hold on to it, keep positive control over it, or it'll drop. It's pouring pretty good. Okay, now it's held up right here by this little seal. Start pushing it down once the other one is off. Let's see, actually, come out now. You can see how yucky and funky, and that's about as funky as they get. And then something fell in there. I'm not sure what, but that's pretty funky. I think it's time I put on my gloves, because I don't want to deal with that too much. And I guarantee if anybody's having poor drainage at their house with their waste, they probably have this if they have women in the house, a lot of kids, or anybody with a lot of hair. So that's kind of funky. So that's about as yucky as you want to get as far as I'm concerned. However, it gets a lot worse if you're dealing with toilets. And something fell in here, and it looks like, wow, there's a fine, huh? Team Bailey, and it's a pin for, looks like for Bailey Real Estate, I would imagine. Yeah. Oops, the blue fell off. It's kind of funky. So anyway, Team Bailey pin. We'll find. Anyhow, so this is what you get. That's kind of funky. We want to clean that up. Raise this up. There's a washer here. And actually, let's do this one first because I can get to it. You should be able to do it by hand. Use your bowl, because again, once you open up the valve at the top, the water's going to drain out. So you can see the water starting to come. That's a bummer if you don't have a bowl. Let's just, we'll get those off and I'll be back at you. Okay, the next step once you're down here, and I've got this all removed, is you need to remove the lift rod and lift rod strap, which is right back here in the back, and that's for the pop-up assembly that attaches to the ball rod, which is here. And the way that you do that, I can just push it from here, is it has a clip. You slide the clip off, and then that just pops off right there. Okay, so that's about it. The clips just fell off. That's detached now, so that the ball rod is, that one's not working anyway, but it's loose. There's a, once this nut's removed, it comes down here, the top piece can unscrew, which is in the sink, the chrome piece. This drops, the chrome piece pops out. And I'll go ahead and see if I can get this broken free, if I can, hopefully. And that was pretty simple. Although, you know, this one's not staged because that is funky, and what was in it is even funkier. So, but you can see sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just because it's working right now doesn't mean it's actually going to work in the end. So again, put your bowl underneath just in case something flows. You can slide that down. It's going to stop right here because it can't get past there. You have these washers. Here's a plastic washer, and that slides because the nut would catch on the rubber and tear it, so it uses this in between the rubber and the brass. And then you try to push that down. And that one actually goes up inside. So you got to kind of finagle it a little bit. Okay, so once that works, and you can get that, you can slide it up like that. See, now there's a little bit of looseness to it, and that's That's also pretty darn funky. Anyway, I'll bring it to the top and show you what's up there. Okay, we're back up at the top, and the chrome piece on top of the pop-up assembly now needs to come off. So what you do with that is you got to reach under and grab the bottom if you're by yourself and take either channel locks or other pliers, and I usually grip it here, being careful of the sink because you may not be replacing the sink. Grip it and then turn on the bottom. Alright, there it goes. This unscrews and its funkiness. An old pipe dope. And then here's the piece. And it's, right? So, anyway, those are the pieces that come off. These are obviously going to get discarded. Obviously, we're not reusing anything like this. But I'd say recycle. It's brass. If you can recycle it, you can make some money back on it rather than throw it away. Okay, so now we have the faucet we need to replace. And this faucet is what you call a 4-inch on center faucet. That's because from here to here is 4 inches on center. And a lot of faucets come with a plate and only the 2 holes, or there is a third hole here, or they'll have the 3 holes and single faucet, but it still covers the 3, so it's either 4-inch or 8-inch on center. Okay, so I'll start down at the bottom and I'll take you there. Alright guys, I know this video isn't very good, but I don't have the best camera here. But what I did realize is that to get this assembly out, I need to remove this nut back here on the centerpiece, and then this whole assembly will just drop. Okay, these faucets now, it's time to remove them. So the way to do this is you got to take a knife or something and pop off the centers on those. And then these have screws in them, or Phillips, and you'll unscrew that to take the knobs off. Take these pieces off, and then these unscrew, and you may have to grab them again with something prehistoric. But you can see they're starting to unscrew. Just be careful of the tile and okay, that's as much as we can do on the top, and then we have to go to the bottom because this piece would unscrew, but the problem is it won't come all the way around. See? So I have to do that one from the bottom. Okay? Alright guys, so now I'm under here. I've got the different assemblies all detached, and what I see is these pieces are connected with these pipes. And the centerpiece here has a washer that's rusty, but it has a nut on it up here. And once I remove that nut, the assembly should slide a little bit. The nut will slide back. It's got a big hole here, and this whole assembly should just come out. Okay, I got the half the fixtures off, and you can see the center faucet spout had a compression fitting that goes down inside the brass. And I knew that, however, it was pretty solid. It wouldn't come out, and again, you can really tell all the rust and stuff on here. That's a mess. Alright guys, here's another tip that I have. Right around here you have all this hard water, and you get it all around the edges. It's hard to see, but you can actually see the ring. And what I normally do is I spray something, a little water or what have you on there, and then I'll take a razor blade and then come right down and scrape it off.